What's going on, Dub Nation? You're watching Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Tyler Smith, and just because the trade deadline has came and gone doesn't mean your Golden State Warriors aren't making moves for the rest of this season. If you guys remember, they converted Pat Spencer's two-way contract to a standard deal, so that opens up a two-way slot on this Warriors team, and the Warriors are signing Nate Williams of the Long Island Nets to a two-way deal per our guy, Jake Fisher here. We're going to break down this signing and more on today's edition of the Warriors Today. But before we do, this is why you subscribe to the channel, guys. Warriors moves, no matter how big or small, they're covered right here on the channel. Whether it's a two-way signing or, sign LeBron James in free agency, we're going to cover it right here on the channel when we get that news. So go down below, hit that subscribe button, and turn your notifications on so you never miss a moment surrounding your Dubs. All right, so two-way signing, Nate Williams here. Really named Jonathan Williams, excuse me, out of the University at Buffalo. Funny enough, I've seen Nate here play a good number of times at the collegiate level, playing out there in Western New York. He played my St. Bonaventure Bonnies a good bit during his collegiate career, and he was a really solid guy. He was their best player for the most part, guys. Real physical, could get to the rim, could defend at multiple levels, and was a very switchable player as well. In his professional career, he's really just bounced back and forth between the G League and the NBA, kind of keeping those dreams alive. And now he's back with another opportunity here with the Golden State Warriors on a two-way deal. In terms of his NBA experience, he's been on the Portland Trailblazers to start his career, and then the Houston Rockets most notably. I think you guys may have remembered him playing against Golden State a couple of times here. And like I said, this two-way deal was opened up by Pat Spencer's contract becoming fully converted into a standard deal, and he's now a full-time member of the Golden State Warriors. So a two-way slot opened, and Nate Williams was the one that gets that slot. Now, Nate Williams will wear number 19 for the Golden State Warriors. This is got to tell you guys all the information that we know about this, guys, because there's really not all that much to be had. He spent all of his time this basketball season in the G League playing with the Long Island Nets, and look, he's been really solid throughout those games, man. 35 games played, 18.5 points a night, nearly 6 boards, 2.5 assists. The efficiencies are solid as well. Not going to necessarily be your knockdown three-point shooter, and that's become pretty evident based on his professional statistics to this point at the NBA level. Like, it was a season where he put up 23% from three-point range, and that was in a 20-game sample size, one of his more active stints in the league. Back in 2022, 2023, though, that 5 games played, 25 minutes a night, like, what does that smell like to you guys? That smells like the end of the year. Guys are sitting out. You got the two-ways and the G Leaguers coming up, and that's basically what the last week of the NBA season kind of entails here. A bunch of guys who haven't really played the entire season leading up to that point. But in that 2022, 2023, little 5-game sample size, he was good, man. 10.5 points, 3 rebounds. He was getting active on the defensive end too, and he was really, really efficient. His most efficient in his NBA career, 62% from the field and nearly 38% from three-point range. But when you really boil it down over the 47-game sample size that he's had in the NBA, the stats are not really all that impressive. Look, he's a 3-and-D wing. Like, is he going to make a crazy impact to this Warriors team? This season especially, probably not. But, it's another guy here. He's only 6'5", which is interesting, considering the Warriors don't really have as much size as I would like on the wings. You got Guy Santos, but really outside of that, where is your size coming from? Moses Moody's 6'4". Everybody else is in the backcourt. Like, the Warriors don't have any small forwards on the team. Outside of Guy Santos, the Warriors don't have any small forwards. So if Nate Williams here could play a little bit taller in that regard, then I'm all for it. But I don't anticipate him getting too much run here. A very late season signing. The Warriors are technically trying to make a playoff push, so we'll see how impactful this ends up being. Like I said, with the stint that he had back in 2023, like, you probably see that same thing end up happening again toward the end of this season, last week of the year, unless Golden State is just balls for the walls like they were last year, hunting a play-in spot or the top 6 seed potentially. Don't anticipate him making too much of an impact unless the Warriors' seeding situation is kind of tied up and ready to go by the end of by the last week or 5 or so games before the regular season wraps up. With that being said, grade the signing for me down in the comments section. Grade the signing of Nate Williams. It's not too impactful, but if you know anything about him, let me hear your thoughts down below. A, B, C, D, or F. What grade would you give this signing by Golden State to their roster here? A two-way addition. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about where this Warriors roster is kind of moving forward here. Just at a glance for the rest of this season, Obviously, Steph's going to be coming back here over the next few weeks. We'll see when that happens. He was taking part in some, nothing too crazy, obviously, but some all-star activities where, he was shooting from the booth or whatever it was, like the desk that they were having for some, on-court analysis and pregame routines and stuff, and he, hucked it from basically beyond the tunnel, it seemed, at that point. So that was pretty cool to see there. Hopefully he comes back and he's all good. But man, like the way that this Warriors rotation looks over the next few months, it's just not all that inspiring, to be honest with you guys. Now, could they end up making some more moves here to try to improve that roster? We'll talk about that in just a moment. Coming up next, we got some more help potentially on the way here for the Golden State Warriors. They could be bringing back a familiar face that fans might be familiar with. We'll talk about that in just a moment. First, though, I got to tell you guys about our sponsor on today's show, and we're brought to you by PrizePicks, the best sports picks app in the game. Shoot your shot on PrizePicks and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right. PrizePicks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5. PrizePicks makes every dunk, every dime, and every board that much more exciting. So don't miss the chance to get started on PrizePicks or to get on America's #1 app for sports picks. That is PrizePicks. All you got to do is pick 2 to 6 players and just pick more or less on their projected stats. You can win up to 2,000 times your money in one single lineup. They offer basketball, football when that's around, baseball is coming up very soon, hockey, you could do all of it. They even got some Olympics in there as well. Just pick more or less, and you can win real money in real time. For tonight's college basketball action, I got Braden Smith less than 27.5 points. I think Michigan is absolutely going to bottle up those Purdue Boilermakers. Give me Axel Lendenberg to make an impact on the defensive end, more than 1.5 block shots. And then John Blackwell, the sharpshooter, stat sheet shuffer for the Wisconsin Badgers. Give me more than 30 fantasy score for him. You can tell my picks or fade my picks. Just do it at PrizePicks and take advantage of all the features that they offer, like early payouts. So if your lineup gets off to a hot start, you might have the option to cash out those winnings, or injury reboots. So if a player gets hurt in the first half and does not return, you will get that square taken out of your PrizePicks lineup. Download the app today and use the code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, so could the Warriors be looking at a potential buyout target here in the form of Kyle Anderson? Could Slow-Mo be coming back to the Bay Area? Well, Sports Illustrated dropped some buyout market predictions, and it featured a reunion between Anderson and the Dubs. Here's what Joey Akeley had to say about it from Warriors on SI. The Grizzlies have one open roster spot and 3 two-way players they could still look to convert in Javon Small, Olivier-Maxence Prosper, and Jahmai Mashack. That means Anderson is a strong buyout candidate, and the Warriors would be a likely destination for the 32-year-old forward. Anderson needs to play with a stretch 5 to be at his best, and the Warriors have 3 of them in Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, and Quinten Post. We've seen Anderson play really well on the Grizzlies in terms of his chemistry with a guy like Santi Aldama, a stretch big like that, a guy who I wanted Golden State to go heavily after there last offseason. But that makes a lot of sense for Golden State to bring back Anderson here, a facilitator, a ball mover, and somebody who could get the ball to some of these stretch bigs on the Warriors roster. So, look, he wasn't super impactful or inspiring, enough to the point of keeping him in that Jimmy Butler deal way back when, a couple of seasons ago. But he was fine. I never cared too much when he was in the lineup, but nothing was ever too bad, right? He was fine efficiency-wise. He could defend. He could switch. He could move the ball. He moves in slow motion, so he kind of catches defenses off guard a little bit in that aspect. But again, guys, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I'm fine with it. It's cool, but is anything really going to make a big-time impact? I'm down for whatever at the end of the day. If the Warriors want to do it, cool. If they don't want to do it, not cool. It just doesn't matter to me at the end of the day. I know one thing about Kyle Anderson for this team. The locker room, they liked him. I know they missed him a bunch after that trade went down. That happens with a lot of players in this league, but Anderson has been a consummate professional his entire NBA career, and that was no different in his stint with the Golden State Warriors. So I'm sure Steph, Jimmy, a lot of guys in that locker room would be welcoming Kyle Anderson back with open arms if he does hit the buyout market, though. Again, we have to, say to ourselves here, this isn't guaranteed. Kyle Anderson hasn't even hit the buyout market. He's not a free agent. But with those two-way contracts for Memphis coming up, you could potentially see him getting bought out here before the end of the season. So if he is bought out, let me know what you guys think. Should the Warriors sign Kyle Anderson? I wish this video was more exciting for you guys, to be quite honest with you. This is just where the Warriors news is at this point. S for sign, P for pass. Let me know what you guys think about Kyle Anderson back to Golden State. Look, this is my take about it all. At this point with the Golden State Warriors, where this season is now, I understand they're trying to make a playoff push. I understand Steph went out there and said, I believe I got a shot anytime I go out there in a postseason setting. But at this point, we're at the point of no return. Do whatever small upgrades, small signings, buyout level guys, whatever makes Steph the happiest. Who cares? You've already screwed this so badly to the point where you're probably just wasting the end of Steph's career. So just make whatever small move that he likes. You haven't made any of the big moves that he wants. So can you at least help him here marginally toward the end of the season? It's embarrassing where the Warriors are at now, and it's really one man to blame, and his name is Joe Lacob. And I've got on my high horse, I've got on my soapbox here enough here on the channel, talking about the disaster that he's turned this organization into, a laughingstock that he's torn this organization into. So what's the point in wasting my breath anymore? Go do the little moves that you got. The team that the Golden State Warriors have right now is the one they're going to head into the playoffs with, if they even make it. So what's the point anymore, to be honest with you guys? That will do it for today's show. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because, again, even if they're little moves like this, we will be covering them here on the channel. We'll keep you guys tapped in with everything that you need to know the rest of this Warriors season. We'll see you guys next time. And as always, let's go Dubs.